The room went silent. Not even a breath could be heard. Diddy stood frozen. His face didn't move, but his eyes. Lay told a whole story. Across the courtroom, an older woman stood tall, wearing a long black coat and dark sunglasses. She took them off slowly, and everyone gasped. It was Janice Combs, Diddy's mother. She looked at him straight in the eyes, and then she said the words no mother ever wants to say. From now on, he is no longer my son. No one could believe it. Not the lawyers, not the judge, not even Diddy himself. But what made a mother say that in open court? What secret did she know? Why now? Let's go back. Because this story is not what it seems. Before the trial began, things were already falling apart. For years, Diddy had been surrounded by rumors, strange parties, whispered threats, people disappearing from the spotlight. But no one spoke publicly, not even his closest family. His mother, Janice, had always stood by him. She raised him alone in Harlem, protected him, fought for him. But 3 months before the trial, something changed. Janice stopped answering his calls. She didn't visit. She moved out of her apartment, the one Diddy paid for. Quietly, she vanished. A close friend of hers told the press. She's scared. She saw something she wasn't supposed to. What did she see? One cold evening, Janice met privately with a lawyer named Amelia Banks. Amelia was known for defending powerful women who had been silenced. Janice came with no makeup, wearing a hoodie. She didn't even want to be seen. She placed a small black USB drive on the table. This changes everything, she whispered. Amelia listened carefully as Janice described the file. It was a video from years ago, something that had been hidden, something that involved her son and a girl no one had heard from since. 2017. Now the trial had begun. Federal prosecutors brought out witness after witness. Most of them used fake names, their faces covered for protection. They told similar stories, late-night invitations to Diddy's parties, promises of music deals, and then silence. Some cried, some shouted. One passed out before finishing. The courtroom was tense, but Diddy didn't react. He just stared until the judge asked for the next witness. There was a pause, a shuffle, and the bailiff announced, "Janice Combs, please take the stand." Diddy's head snapped up. His mother walked in slowly, wearing all black, and when she sat down, she looked at him and whispered, "I begged you to stop." Ash. Everyone leaned in as Janice began to speak. "I was proud of my son. He worked hard. He built a name, but he changed." She paused. "I saw things in that house. Girls crying, people leaving in silence. One night I saw a young woman trying to run. He told me not to get involved." The judge asked, "Do you remember her name?" Janice nodded. Ashley Ray Turner. The courtroom went cold. Ashley was the name that had come up in sealed records, but no one had confirmed it till now. Ashley Ray was an aspiring singer. She posted covers online. In 2017, she got a message from someone in Diddy's circle, an invitation to a music retreat. She was excited. She posted about it on Instagram, then she vanished. Her page went silent. Friends said she stopped replying. Her mom filed a missing persons report, but nothing happened. Until now, Janice continued. "I saw Ashley that night. She was scared. She begged me to call someone. What did you do?" the lawyer asked. "I didn't. I was afraid of my own son." Her voice broke. Diddy had been quiet through most of the trial, calm, polished. But after hearing his mother's words, stood up. "You're lying," he shouted. "You know that's not true." The judge slammed the gavel. "Order in the court." Janice looked at him with tears in her eyes. "I protected you for too long, but I will not protect you anymore." Then she said the words that echoed across news stations and social media within hours. "From now on, he is no longer my son." Right after Janice stepped down from the witness stand, something strange happened. Her lawyer, Amelia Banks, stood up and handed a sealed envelope to the court clerk. "Your Honor," she said, "we ask the court to review this confidential video evidence before the jury sees it." The judge nodded and took the envelope. Inside was the USB drive, the same one Janice had given Amelia in secret. And on that drive, a recording no one had seen, at least not in public. It was shaky, filmed from a hallway like someone was hiding. But the audio, clear. A girl's voice crying, a door slamming, a man shouting, "You said you wanted to be a star, right? This is what it takes." Gasps filled the courtroom. Diddy looked down. He knew that voice. It was his. The court wanted to know, where did the video come from? Amelia explained. It was filmed by a house staff member. She was hired to clean the upper rooms. One night she heard crying. She hid her phone behind a lamp and recorded what she could. She never showed the video to police. She was scared. She just handed the phone to Janice and disappeared. Moved out of New York, changed her name. No one had heard from her since. Janice had kept that video locked away, at first to protect her son. But after Ashley's face started showing up in her dreams, she couldn't stay silent. "I see her." Every night, Janice whispered before the court broke for the day. The prosecutor showed a slip. Photos of Ashley Ray. She was young, only 22, big curly hair, smile that lit up the room. She had dreams. Wanted to open a music school for kids. Posted on YouTube almost every day. Then she got invited to Diddy's mansion in LA. They said it was just a party, her friend later testified. But she told me something felt wrong. She wanted to leave the second day, but she didn't get the chance. On day 3, she called her mom and said, "If anything happens to me, tell them Diddy did it." That was the last anyone heard from her. A few weeks after Ashley vanished, her purse was found near a freeway. Inside, they found her phone, broken a driver's license, and a handwritten note. It was short, just a few lines. "I trusted him. I thought he would help me, but he lied. If I disappear, I didn't run. Please believe me." Her mom kept that note for years, showing it to anyone who would listen. No one believed her until now. Now, with Janice's testimony and the video, everything changed. Diddy's lawyers weren't quiet for long. The next morning, they came in. Ready to fight? They said the video was fake. The audio was edited. That Janice was being manipulated by media pressure. His top lawyer stood and said, "This is a desperate attempt to destroy a legacy. Nothing more. My client is innocent." They even tried to make Janice look unstable, bringing up her past struggles, her medications, even old hospital visits. But Janice didn't flinch. She looked right at the jury and said, "I may be old, but I know what I saw, and I know what I raised." He wasn't always like this, but power changed him. By now, the story was everywhere. News trucks lined the street fans. Activists and protesters all gathered outside the courthouse. Some held signs that said "Justice for Ashley." Others held signs saying "Free Diddy." People argued, cried, shouted. Social media was exploding. One tweet by a journalist said, "Diddy's own mother just broke the silence." "This is the beginning of the end," a former music producer posted. Everyone knew. But no one had the guts to speak. Janice Combs just changed everything. And in the middle of it all, Janice walked out of the courthouse quietly. No security, no press team. She just whispered, "I did what I had to do." That night, Janice sat in her small rented apartment. On the wall were old pictures of Diddy as a child at age 7, holding a birthday balloon. At age 12, performing in a school play. She stared at those pictures for a long time. Then she turned off the light and began to cry. Where did I go wrong? She whispered into the dark. Asterisk, she remembered the early days, when he was hungry for success, kind to strangers, loyal to his crew. But somewhere along the way, things changed. He started locking doors, whispering on phone calls, pushing people away. She knew something was wrong. But she looked the other way. Maybe I was too proud to see it, she said. Back in court, things took another sharp turn. Another witness took the stand. A woman named Kendra, former staff at the mansion. She was nervous, hands shaking. But her words were clear. I saw Ashley leave that room. She was bleeding. Diddy told me to take her downstairs. She didn't want to go then. She was gone. I asked where she went. He said, she got what she came for. Now she's someone else's problem. Gasps again. The judge leaned forward. The jury members looked sick. Diddy. He closed his eyes. He knew it was over. The courtroom was like a war zone now, not with fists or guns, but with truths that cut deep and outside those walls. The world was watching every second. TV screens, TikTok clips, live tweets. But while the public wanted answers, inside the courtroom, one family was falling apart in front of everyone. Late that night, Janice's phone rang. Unknown number. But she knew who it was. She answered. Didn't say a word. Diddy's voice came through quiet, almost broken. Why, Ma? Why are you doing this to me? Janice sat still. I begged you to stop years ago. You didn't listen. I protected you. I stayed quiet while girls cried in my kitchen. Diddy's tone shifted. They're trying to destroy me. You're helping them, Janice whispered back. No, Sean. You destroyed yourself. And then she hung up. Janice sat by her window the rest of the night. She thought of the first time. Sean brought music into their home, was 10, banging on pots, pretending to rap. She remembered his first show, had the look in his eyes when he signed his first deal, the joy in his voice when he said, Ma, we made it. She smiled at those memories. Then she thought about the girl who ran through her hallway, begging for help, Ashley. That's when the smile faded. The media turned fast, before people were unsure. Some defended Diddy, saying it was all lies. Others said it's about time. But now, after the video, the note, and Janice's words, the mood shifted. Celebrities unfollowed him. Brands pulled back. Fans made tribute videos for Ashley. Justice for Ashley trended worldwide, and Janice. People started calling her the bravest mother in hip-hop. But then, something strange happened. Janice's mailbox was broken into. The lawyer's office was trashed. A threatening note was found in her hallway. Stop talking, or you'll lose more than your son. They called the police. They tried to trace it, but nothing. The fear came back, Amelia told her. This is how it starts. They scare you, then they silence you. But Janice didn't flinch. Let them come, she said. I've already lost him. I'm not afraid anymore. Just when the court thought it had heard everything, something unexpected happened. A woman showed up at the courthouse. She wore a scarf around her head, dark glasses, and when she removed them, Janice gasped. Maya? She whispered. Maya was a cousin. She used to babysit Sean when he was little. She disappeared years ago, after working at one of Diddy's early parties in Miami. Now, here she was, pale, shaky, but alive. I stayed silent too long, Maya said. She had a journal inside were notes, names, dates, details. One page was about Ashley. I saw what they did to her, Maya said. She tried to run, tried to help, but they pushed me out too. The judge was losing patience. He turned to Diddy's lawyer. Your client may want to settle or speak, because at this point, the evidence is mounting. But Diddy still stayed quiet. He wouldn't testify. He wouldn't explain. Instead, he stared at the jury, that same cold look, like none of this touched him. Janice looked at him once more. I used to pray for you, she whispered. Now I pray for the people you hurt. One of the jurors, a young woman named Tasha, broke down during Maya's testimony. She asked to step out. Another juror, an older man, told the judge, it's hard to sleep. This case is heavy. The judge nodded. Real justice comes at a price, he said. By now, reporters were digging into everything. They found old police records, ignored calls, deleted emails. An ex-bodyguard came forward. We were told to keep them quiet. No cameras, no questions. If someone cried, we gave them hush money. I left when I couldn't sleep anymore. The whole world was watching a legacy fall apart. But through it all, the one voice that rang the loudest was a mother's. The next morning, the air felt heavier than usual. Cameras were already outside the courthouse before sunrise. Reporters whispered that something big was coming. Inside, the courtroom sat in total silence as the doors opened. A woman in a simple black dress walked in. She didn't look at anyone. She held a photo in her hand. It was Ashley Ray's mother. She took the stand without emotion. When asked her name, her voice cracked but stayed strong. "Angela Turner. I'm Ashley's mother." The prosecutor gently asked her to explain how. Her daughter got invited to Diddy's party. Angela took a deep breath and spoke slowly. She got an email. Said it was a networking event. Industry people, producers. It sounded like her big break. She was so excited. She paused. "I told her to be careful, but I didn't stop her. I didn't know. Didn't know that would be the last time I ever saw her." Angela began to cry, softly at first. She held up the photo, a bright, happy picture of Ashley playing guitar. She wanted to teach kids music. That was her dream. She had no enemies, just hope. The room was still. Even the judge looked down for a moment. Angela looked over at Janice. "Thank you," she said, "for finally speaking, for giving my baby a voice." Janice nodded, but her eyes were full of pain. After the testimony, a break was called, but no one left their seats. Suddenly, a side door opened. A man walked in, wearing a gray hoodie and sunglasses. People leaned forward. Was this another witness? When he reached the stand and removed his hood, the room gasped. It was a former music producer who used to work under Diddy. His name had never been in the headlines. But behind the scenes, he had seen everything. He introduced himself, then looked straight at the jury. "I stayed quiet for 15 years. I watched things happen. I kept my head down. But when I saw that video, when I saw Janice break down, I knew I had to speak." He said there were special rooms in Diddy's properties, rooms without windows, so he named others who had visited. Some were famous, some weren't. He described how girls were chosen. They were promised a shot, a stage, a contract. Instead, they were broken. He looked directly at Diddy. "You knew what was happening. You made the calls. You gave the orders." Diddy said nothing. His lawyers looked panicked. The judge asked, "Why didn't you speak before?" The witness looked down. "I was scared. I was paid." Then he added, "But no money can bury what I saw." That testimony changed everything, even the strongest. Supporters of Diddy online started pulling back. His fan accounts went quiet. Other artists deleted old songs with him. The courtroom atmosphere changed. Jurors no longer avoided his eyes, they stared at him, studying his face. One woman on the jury wrote a word in her notebook: monster. Outside the courtroom, people gathered with candles. They began calling it Ashley's light. That night, Janice sat with Amelia, her lawyer. She had something else to confess. "There's more," Janice said. "Something I've never told anyone." She explained that years ago, a young girl came to her at one of Diddy's events. The girl was shaking, bruised, and crying. She said she needed help. She begged me to call someone, but I told her to calm down and sent her to the kitchen. Tear rolled down Janice's face. She disappeared. I never saw her again. Amelia asked why she didn't tell the police. I was afraid of what it would mean. I didn't want to believe my son could be involved. Her voice shook. But now, I know I was part of the silence. The next morning in court, Janice asked the judge to allow her one more statement. He agreed. She stood before the jury. No paper in her hand, just her voice. I raised a boy with big dreams. He wanted to change the world. But somewhere along the way, that dream turned into control, into pain, into darkness. She looked at Diddy. I didn't want to believe it. I defended you. I stayed silent. But no more. Then she turned to the jury. Whatever you decide, I will live with it. But I want the truth to matter again. She stepped down. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. The defense lawyer stood, trying to pick up the pieces. He called a character witness, someone who had worked with Diddy for years, but it was too late. Nothing could erase what had been said. The jury was dismissed for the day. Outside, Protesters grew in number. Ashley's face was on banners, murals, shirts, and that night, something unexpected happened. Janice received a message. It was from the housekeeper who had filmed the hallway video. She was watching everything. From far away, her message was simple. Thank you for speaking. I thought I was alone. Janice sat with her phone for a long time. Then she typed back, No, you were never alone. It had been 21 days since the trial began. 21 days of truth, of pain, of silence breaking apart like glass. The jury returned to the courtroom after just 6 hours of final deliberation. The foreman, a middle-aged man in a blue shirt, stood up, holding a folded slip of paper. The judge asked, Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict? He replied, We have, Your Honor. The judge nodded. Please read it aloud. The room went still. You could hear the clock ticking. The foreman opened the paper. In the matter of the charges against Sean Combs, we find the defendant. He paused. Guilty gasps rang out. Some cried. Some held their mouths. A few clapped quietly before the judge asked for silence. Diddy didn't move. Not a blink. Not a flinch. He just stared forward. Frozen in time, his lawyer's face went pale. The judge looked at him and said, Mr. Combs, you have been found guilty. Sentencing will be announced in 1 week. The gavel struck once. The sound echoed. Like thunder, it was done. As officers walked toward Diddy to take him into custody, he finally turned. He looked across the courtroom, straight at his mother. Janice stood still. For a moment, he looked like the boy she once knew, the boy who played drums on kitchen pots and begged her to stay up late to watch music videos. But that moment passed. Now he was just a man in handcuffs, no longer a star, no longer a sun in her eyes. Janice didn't cry. She simply whispered, It's over. And then she looked away. News spread like wildfire. Diddy guilty on all counts. The headlines screamed. Talk shows lit up. Survivors across the world began to speak out. More stories surfaced. Some called Janice a hero. Others asked, why? Did it take so long? One thing was clear. Something had shifted. In the days that followed, Janice stayed quiet. No interviews. No spotlight. She went back to her apartment, removed all pictures of her son from the walls, and replaced them with photos of women who came forward. Ashley's photo sat on the windowsill, the brightest one. Every morning, Janice sat by that window with her tea. She didn't smile much, but one morning, she received a letter. It was from Ashley's little sister. Handwritten, full of drawings, it read, Thank you. Ms. Janice, you're the reason my sister's voice was finally heard. I want to be strong like you when I grow up. Janice held the letter to her heart, and finally, after everything, she smiled. Some stories don't end with applause. Some end in quiet rooms, with tear-stained letters and empty photo frames. But justice doesn't always come loud. Sometimes it comes from a mother's whisper in a courtroom. From now on, he's no longer my son.